What's going on, everybody? July's over and it's been so wildly hot where I live that it's been the perfect weather to stay inside and play more video games. So there's plenty to talk about in this installment of games I've played recently. I started playing Etrian Odyssey HD at the beginning of the month, and it was a startling revelation that the dungeon crawling game I've been wanting in the back of my mind has existed all along. Growing up, I wasn't on the Nintendo DS wave. I actually had a PSP after my Game Boy Advance, so I had no idea that the Etrian Odyssey series existed. It's a dungeon-crawling RPG game where you build a party of characters and simultaneously explore and create the map of a dungeon with the in-game map maker. You move on a grid throughout the dungeon, and the monsters are actually dangerous compared to other RPGs that I've played. There is a real danger to going deeper into the dungeon since you don't know what monsters are there or how much stronger they are compared to the previous floor. It's definitely a grindy game, which I do always enjoy, but I have yet to reach the point of feeling invincible like you would in a Final Fantasy. I bought the HD collection, so I do have the second and third games as well, but I've got 40 hours in the first and have no idea how close I am to the end, so I know I've got a lot of enjoyment on the horizon. I also did something very rare for me and bought an early access game called Halls of Torment. I was looking for a game I could easily pick up and casually play in situations where I wasn't in the mood to really hunker down for a longer play session. I've been constantly hearing about Vampire Survivors and the style of games it's popularized, and Hall of Torment seemed more my style and wasn't a huge investment. I made sure to temper my expectations, and it certainly exceeded them, but I think I still want more from a game than just killing waves and buying upgrades. It's definitely fun to pick up for a little while, and since it's in early access, there is potential for growth, so I don't regret checking it out. I will probably keep tabs on it moving forward as more content is added towards a full release. Another game that I finally started was Street Fighter 6. I just didn't have the time to jump in during June, and I also wanted to finish building a leverless controller so I could get comfortable using one. I've had the buttons for a long time and just needed to pick up the board, but I did finally get one. So far, Street Fighter 6 is definitely a great time and a huge upgrade over Street Fighter 5. I did enjoy and play a lot of 5, but 6 immediately oozes personality and is much more polished at launch. I love the new character designs and mechanics, but I haven't played online yet while I get used to my new controller and explore the drive system. I think Capcom did a great job of implementing the drive system, and it's interesting when you directly compare Street Fighter 6 to previous titles that the typical Street Fighter experience is actually built into the drive system. The drive gauge gives you access to many powerful universal mechanics for characters, meaning that meter management is still important even though it's now separated from your super gauge. Drive Rush is simultaneously a necessity to maximize damage and a great tool to indirectly educate players about hit confirming and whiff punishing. Using Drive Rush as a hit confirm also keeps you closer to the opponent than you would normally be in neutral, allowing more complex combo routes, which again encourages players to constantly be considering the drive gauge. The new characters and design changes for legacy characters are exceptional in my opinion and actually make me want to play every character on the roster, which is definitely more than I can say for previous Street Fighter games. I do really want to spend more time playing it, but so far I've just been fitting it in where I can. I do intend to design a more permanent enclosure for the controller I built as well, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Another game that I started playing, for like the third time, is Battle Chef Brigade Deluxe. It's definitely not a bad game, but for some reason, every time I've tried to start it, something I've been looking forward to comes out, or there's a surprise release that pulls me away from it before I get past the first couple of hours. Even though I haven't finished it in the past, I do really like the fusion of ideas in the game. Cooking being a gem-rotating puzzle game, killing monsters for ingredients to use in your dish, all wrapped up in the concept of a cooking battle RPG is a really fun and interesting idea. I also have to shout out the hand-drawn animations and characters as the sucker for animation that I am, and it definitely adds to the warm charm of the game. Since this is actually an easy game to pick up and play for a short while, I'm certainly going to make an effort to finish it this time. And finally, the game I've played the most this month is Super Mega Baseball 4. A streamer I watched started playing the game, and I really liked how goofy the game seemed to be. I grew up playing baseball, and even though I don't follow the sport, I do still enjoy it. I started a franchise save, which is a perpetual cycle of seasons and playoffs that simulates owning and operating a baseball team. You have a set amount of money and must build your team of players managing salaries and player development. Some players will retire between seasons, and some will ask you for higher salaries, forcing you to make cost-benefit analyses and making all teams evolve over time. It sounds super granular and crunchy, but it's still very accessible for someone like me who doesn't know much or care about the administration of baseball teams. It's been really fun, and the cartoonish graphics and names make the game even easier to enjoy as a casual fan of baseball. I went undefeated in my first season, and the second season is shaping up to be a good one too. I can certainly see Super Mega Baseball 4 as part of my regular game rotation. And that's it for games I played in July. It's funny because a lot of these games I can see myself playing for the foreseeable future, but there are games coming out later this year that I'm really looking forward to playing. Thanks for watching, take care, and remember, keep having fun.